Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Thursday, the 16th of September 2021. So the main headline really is, what if the bounce fails? There was a bit of a bounce yesterday. Is the bull really that unloved? I mean, obviously, for the last 13 years, it's been a case of buying the dip, but there seems to be some negative news around with concerns. Collapsing retail investor euphoria points to imminent correction. Van der Waals, the diminishing appetite to support the equity rally raises the odds of a larger sell-off if institutional investors continue to sell, which obviously we've seen over the last few days, probably because they're not getting any more stimmy checks from the government, I would imagine. Now, there's a lot of news with regards to inflation. Yesterday we saw this increase in the UK. I think it went up to 3.9, didn't it? Let me just backtrack a day here and just make sure I get this correct. It was actually 3.2. It was 2.9 that was the forecast coming out higher there. So there's a lot to do with inflation and certainly costs going forward, particularly in the natural gas arena, which you can see here. This is the futures for the natural gas futures, and actually the UK. Normally you'd look at this and see the US, but as the headlines state here, Goldman tells hedge funds how to profit from Europe's gas price hyperinflation. I personally have already received an email from my provider talking about this, but there is a limit, I think, on what they can actually charge in the UK. But the news yesterday is dominated by this. European gas prices continue parabolic rise as EU debates Nord Stream 2, which is coming through Russia. Some people say that it could take months, but maybe current situation will speed things up, and that's getting more gas from Russia. But certainly, again, you can see dominating the news. This could have a major impact on inflation and also on the poor. Propane is set up for a volatile ride this upcoming winter-fall season, as supplies are about 20% below the 5-year average for this time of year. On another interesting note as well is this. PM new security impact with Australia and US will make the world safer. I very much doubt it. You see, there's an expression, and it was coined by Gerald Celente, and it sums up this completely. You've got the COVID situation, you've got the financial situation, which is the COVID being used because the financial system's falling apart. And as Gerald Celente says, when all else fails, they take you to war. And it's a very interesting article, as it points out down here. Let me just see if I can find you this. Yeah, it's this paragraph here. It says that US officials said the partnership, which will also involve cooperation areas including artificial intelligence, quantum technology, and cyber, was not aimed at any one country, but it will be widely seen as a reaction to the growing power of China in the region. Well, Australia is perfectly well placed, isn't it, in Asia? And then you've got the US, the superpower, and the UK that seems to get dragged into all of these things. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go to war with China, but it's very interesting given the everything else that's going on at the moment, that they lobbed this one out. And never in a million years would have expected to have seen this yesterday. But 3 people actually sent me this and said, have you seen this in the background? And again, I read the article at 3 a.m. this morning, and I thought, yeah, here we go. It's why Australia? It's very interesting that all of these 3 powers, especially strategically placed as far as Australia is concerned. But like I say, I don't think there's going to be a war with it. But I always remember the words of Gerald Celente: when everything else fails, they take you to war. I hope not. I really do hope not. That is going to be the case personally, and for everybody. But it's just interesting. Now, this one was just lobbed out there yesterday. Very, very interesting. On a lighter note, implied volatility down as we get to the triple witching tomorrow, as the market managed to be sideways to higher yesterday. And then news for today: the criminals out today. Lagarde is out at 1 p.m. Nothing this morning, and then all US news. Core retail sales are out, and then Philly Fed, and also the unemployment claims. The whole shooting match is out at 1:30. No news for the Dow when it opens later. Speaking of the Dow, let's have a quick look at yesterday. You can see the market moving higher. It happened in the mid-afternoon, coming back off that low again of 34,561, trading to the previous day's low, and then bouncing. If I can find the 30-minute charts, there we go. So yesterday's market action bouncing off the low just before the Dow opened. This is the low of Tuesday, Wednesday. The market then just bouncing and then screaming back to the upside, which was interesting. A very volatile first hour though, which also was the case in the DAX, which is unusual, but as we'll see later on, there was a lot of volatility there as well. It was indecisive and creating a few trading problems, which were then resolved when the market moved in the right direction. But you can see yesterday for the DAX sideways, but breaking the previous day's inside trading range, with the market taking out the previous day's low. Weakness overnight at the moment, and in the 30 minutes you can see yesterday morning very choppy, stuck in a sideways range. We then had the sell-off in the afternoon and against the Dow, and then they brought it back with the Dow as the Dow screamed to the upside later on after the first hour. So again, an interesting afternoon. It looks like the institutions want to sell at the open, something that was a familiar scene when they stopped tapering a few years ago as well, that they come in and the market would scream lower. One thing to look out for, if that does become the case, is that you will see the market stop and then they will make an excuse saying there was a technical error. That's what they did through that period. Again, I mentioned it at the time. It's just an excuse so the institutions can offload at a higher price, and then they bring the system back on board for the retail investor. Not uncommon. Just have a look. Technical glitch is what they call it. And then in the metals markets, interesting that silver managed to move higher yesterday, but failing overnight, as we can see at the moment. Quick sell-off here already. They're already starting to move the market lower. Like I say, for me, they're still going to take this low. If they take out yesterday's low, then we certainly head much lower. It's just drawing a few targets because that's the for me is the side at the moment. Down to 89 would be the case. 23 would be a test for this market. Break this, we go down to 22.50 because we'll already take out this level here, and then down to 21. Which all they need is some good news to in order to do that. They missed that opportunity the other day with the inflation because it was manipulated lower, but otherwise we'd already be looking down at these levels, I'm sure. Gold also down, but not as dramatic. You can see that stuck in a sideways channel. You could watch the low of this bar here where they brought the market back. And if this is taken out, then expect lower gold prices in the short term as well. Back below $1,800 an ounce for this market as well. And the dollar being moved to the upside, as we can see on the December contract having rolled over from the September, which expired last week. And finally, let's just have a quick look through yesterday's activity in a bit more detail. And you can see yesterday morning the market weaker. We had the inflation figures from the UK here, which came out higher at 3.2, which we've just seen, and then the market managing to bounce back initially and then stuck in a sideways range. So I'm going to fast forward through the morning because not a lot happened there. And all the way through, as we saw in the 30-minute chart earlier, the market was waiting for news. We had the US news there, managed to bring the market back. It was the Empire State numbers. They came out far higher than forecast. And then we saw the volatility in the DAX, which we don't normally see happening initially. It usually tends to wait to see what the Dow is going to do and then takes a view thereafter. But no, it followed. You can see these are quite big bars for the afternoon, actually. So we had a potential buy signal, but the market failed at the DP level. They then brought the market back for the first losing trade. And then we had a short, and that I could see immediately was going to bounce back as well. It was just the way that it was playing. In this particular action here, it's that sort of bar. So decided to get out. We then had a potential buy signal. We hit the close, and again I could just sense from what was happening and watching the Dow chart, which turned and moved sharply to the downside, jumped ship, and then as the Dow moved lower, took the short. The market then continued lower, and somewhere around here, if I can just find it, it's here somewhere. Let me just bring this to your attention just here. I managed to pull out 50 points on the trade and make up some of the losses that were there, and end up with a small profit out of that volatile area. I haven't seen one of those for a long time. Normally you get the odd day in the month where you'll get 3 or 4 consecutive losses, but thankfully we're not seeing that too much. But then, as you say, it's made up by the trade that broke to the downside, and then the reason for getting out is because of the buying pressure here, and then you could see that the Dow also starting to turn around very sharply and move back to the upside, which it did. It went parabolic to the upside then. So that was the crude oil inventories. No other trades. Market then got into a sideways move, and then eventually moved to the upside with the Dow through the evening, which you can see there. Okay, that's it for this one. Let's see what happens today, and how things pan out, see if they can keep the market moving back to the upside, and see if the bounce is going to work or not. Okay, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.